Hey guys, Katie here. I'm just stepping in really quick to remind you that, as promised a few weeks ago, this week you'll be getting a Patreon preview. This is a Patreon episode that we released to our Anklet and Limbo Champion members back in March, right before St. Patrick's Day. And it details various ways that myself and Garrett have interacted with the wildlife in Ireland and even wildlife everywhere in our lives, whether it was willing and consensual or kind of foisted upon us without our express consent or complete informed consent, I guess we could say. So for episode 42, please enjoy this exclusive Patreon preview of our Dysfunction Junction episodes. And if you like it, you can always join our Patreon at patreon.com/thebarIsAnkleHigh and join as an Anklet or Limbo Champion member to get access to these types of bonus episodes every other week. Enjoy!
Welcome, Patreon.
Woo! Episode 15 of Dysfunction Junction.
So,
That's probably episode 16, actually, if I think about it.
he's probably gonna cut it anyway. So we're recording this the weekend prior to St. Patrick's Day. So we just had the revelation that not only is Katie wearing green, but the story that I wanted to share today is from a trip to Ireland. And my spouse just happened to have bought Guinness Zero, which is the alcohol-free. So we are going to try it since I can't have real booze.
Yeah!
Oh,
Ooh,
whoa.
Juicy.
Oh, God.
Why did you make it bad? Oh, dear. Well, so here's the thing, folks. Garrett just heard her foamy head on her Guinness got out of control and
God.
spilled beer on her. So hold on.
God.
Time out.
You know what's funny? It's not funny. Downstairs, he dropped one and it almost hit one of the dogs. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, he's fine. Yes. I was like, his life just flashed before his eyes. So there's a little white thing up on that shelf, like a little white basket. And there's like cleaning like rags in there. I can't believe this. Man, these maternity leggings. I only have one pair. Oh. What did you do to her? Jesus Christmas. It's like everywhere. My phone. I tried to get it on my pants and not the chair. It's a good thing my thighs are extra beefy right now because they caught the majority of the spillage. Well, look at how fucking... Oh my God. I'm going to stink like beer all day. That'll be a nice...
Well, just go in public. They'll really love it.
Yeah, the pregnant lady walking around smelling like beer.
Totally.
This is extreme. That was so ridiculous.
He definitely gave you the one that he dropped.
He definitely did. And I thought he had, like, set that one aside, like, hey, don't grab this.
I really should have taken the pink one.
Can you imagine?
I mean, I would have probably just chugged it.
I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, oh, it's just bubbling. Okay, that's fine. I was like, Katie's is bubbling. Oh, my God. It's more than bubbling. That was a premature ejection. Ow. I just hit my tooth.
You're a mess. Tastes like regular Guinness.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I almost like it better than regular Guinness because it has less of that aftertaste.
You know, I mean, I just had like a real hankering for beer. I think because I saw him drink a Sam Adams the other day and I was like...
Last night, Pete, we were at a birthday party and PK had a Guinness. And I guess he used to work at a restaurant or a bar or something at some point named Murphy's. Mm-hmm. And the bartender there was from Ireland. And he said, I always love when I see a woman drinking Guinness because you know she swallows.
That is vile.
Yep.
I feel like if somebody said that to me, I might screech. Like just one of those involuntary, like, ah! What? You know, those very subtle screeches.
Yeah.
So anyway, after that
Final review. I
debacle,
would drink this.
I'm going to, yeah. I think, like, if I really wanted a beer, that's a nice... I do think it would be better with, like, food.
Well, sure. Like with a burger and fries, though, like at a pub, that'd be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Like, if you got a hankering for beer and you can't drink.
Or like you just don't want alcohol.
Yeah,
But like
going to a party
a
and you want to,
soda
like,
isn't.
hang with
Yeah,
everybody.
like a soda isn't gonna cut it. Because yeah, beer is fizzy, but it's for sure a different type of fizzy than soda.
Yes. Like, I feel like it fills my tum more, but I burp less.
Yes.
And I'm not, like, a huge beer drinker, but there are just some times where you're like, man, a beer would be so nice right now.
When it's like boiling hot outside in the summer,
Yes.
an ice cold Corona with a lime
Yes.
just hits.
I love when it's really hot. Molson Canadian
Oh.
is, like, one of my favorite, like, hot weather beers. Or, honestly, I'll take a Bud Light if it's really hot outside.
Yeah, I think there's something about. I think I also like Sauvignon Blanc as well for that reason because it can get so cold
Yes.
and still have like a flavor to it,
Ugh.
whereas like it's not just ice water or
Yes.
whatever. That like there's something about it that's just a little bit more refreshing.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I love, like, a really cold glass of wine in the summertime.
Yeah, for sure.
Or, like, a rosé. Like, a nice rosé. Oh, man.
We'll have you over at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
With the bebe.
When I'm not, I'll probably still be waddling. I was going to say when I'm not waddling, but
No,
I'll probably
but
still be waddling.
we'll have by then. I mean, but yeah. So then we can have. My point was that when I have you over at the end of summer with, donkey.
With the Shrek baby.
Yeah,
And I can have actual alcohol.
yeah.
And I will
then
have no tolerance.
We'll have our right, and then it'll be perfect because we'll only have the one extremely nice bottle of champagne. So it'll be perfect.
You're going to
that
take
you
4
have.
sips and be drunk.
It'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do really well with that.
Yeah.
So on this pre-St. Patrick's Day Patreon recording, I thought I would share a story from our honeymoon, actually. So we went to Ireland for our honeymoon, and we did just rented a car and stayed in like Airbnbs the whole time, which I recommend. That was like a really nice way to be hanging out with people that were like not strictly tourism people.
Mm.
'Cause
Was
you were
driving
in
on
your
the other
house.
side of the road hard though?
I didn't do it. My spouse did, but I can tell you that being a passenger on very narrow roads where you're on the outside and there are like stone walls, I found myself leaning into the middle of the car a lot. And driving along cliffs is frightening. But other than that, it was...
Was it a standard?
No, we requested an automatic because we don't...
There's no way that I could have handled driving on the wrong side of the road plus a stick shift.
The dynamic of that, yeah, no.
Also, I can't drive a stick shift on the right side of the road. So.
Yeah, one of our first full days, we did this. There's like one fjord in Ireland, and they do like a boat tour that goes down the whole thing. It was almost like a one of those like small cruise ships.
Mhm.
And you know, they had like a bar and stuff so you could get a drink, and it was beautiful. But we got there like at the last second, and the lady that when I like checked in to pick up our tickets, she could tell we were both a little frazzled, and she said to me kind of quietly, she's like, how many fights have you gotten in about the driving? I was like, we just gotten one. She was like, yeah, that's what I figured.
Oh, God bless Ireland.
Yeah. Once we got through it, that first like couple of days, it was fine. And like we've since gone back and like driven on the other side of the road, and he's totally fine with it.
It's also, so you were there though, like around St. Patrick's Day or no?
No, we were there in May.
Oh, okay. So you waited a little while though after your wedding, at least.
Yeah, we got married in January, and then we went on our honeymoon in May.
Okay.
Which I also highly recommend going to like the British Isles, like that area.
Although,
in-
fuck Britain.
By the way, no offense to our
Colonials, pigs.
no offense to our English listeners.
I just
but-
have to say it because I'm Irish.
Yeah. No, I mean, and now's the time.
Yeah.
For St. Patrick's Day. I really recommend going. We've done all of those trips either in like May or in like September, October. So the weather's still really nice, but you're there after the main tourist season.
Mm-hmm.
So things are not as like, it's not as hard to get tickets to things. Things aren't as expensive, but stuff is still open because it's not closed for the winter. So definitely a good time to go. Especially May. We actually heard that a lot from like everybody that we encountered in Ireland. They were like, this is before the tourism gets really crazy, but they said like stuff wasn't super overgrown. Like here, like when it gets late in the summer, stuff gets really overgrown. They were like, now's like the best time. And the weather we had great weather. It was actually very sunny while we were there.
The only time I've been to Ireland, it was, we left the day after the bar exam, and, yeah, so it was like July 29th to August 14th or something. And we had excellent weather.
Yeah.
It was sunny like every day.
Yeah.
It really was not very hot because it's Ireland.
Yeah.
And no, we had an amazing time, and we did it through a tour company, so everything was already handled for us.
Which
we
is
didn't have
nice.
to worry. It
Yeah.
really was. But yeah, no, it was for sure. I know that PK and I are discussing doing a trip to like Ireland and Scotland, and probably England as well, at some point after we go to Germany.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. So one of the things that we did while we were there, we were looking online and it said, I want to say it was Kennedy's Animal Farm was the description. And there was all these great reviews, right?
Okay.
And we were like, I mean, we didn't have anything else to do that day. And it was like kind of in the area that we were staying. So we're like, oh, why not? So we show up at this place. We are the only ones there. There's nobody else there. And it's like a farm. So we walk up and the guy's like pumped that there are people here.
The advertisement worked. It's like us anytime anybody discovers us.
Oh yeah. We're like, whoa, how'd you find out about us? Was it the advertisement that we put out there? So he basically tells us like, go wherever you want, do whatever you want, touch whatever you want. We walk in, there's just a thing full of puppies. There's another one full of kittens. It was like a fever dream. There was just baby animals because we were there in the spring, baby animals everywhere.
That's ideal.
Yes. So this man just walks over and hands me a baby lamb.
Oh my God.
Which is what I did. And then I'm holding it and I was like, am I feeling shit all over its butt? And he was like, uh-huh. Shit everywhere. And I'm just like barehanding this baby lamb. And the guy's just like walking, like handing me stuff. Because of course, you hand me a baby animal and I'm just going to.
I'm getting, this farmer is, the vibe I'm getting based on all of the description you've given so far is that he's Teddy from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's pretty, like.
just so excited to share his world with you.
Yes. Just like, and that is so going to come into play. So we are just like loving this. Mostly me. There's just like, I think they had pugs also as just like farm dogs. There was fucking pugs everywhere running around. It was just great. It was just like any cute thing you want to see was there.
Are pugs known for their work dog?
I don't think so. But it didn't matter to me because they were just real cute. There was also like no place to really wash your hands.
Well,
Fun.
yeah.
So
Let the pug lick it and it'll be fine.
Thank you, as it's like grunting on my hand.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to leave, and the guy comes running out of a barn, and he said the sow's giving birth. And I was like, well, that's a twist I was not expecting. And my spouse is like not the type to jump on an opportunity like that. So I was expecting him to be like, oh no, that's okay. And he was like, sure. So we walk in and it's literally just people that like work there helping this sow give birth. And there's like a heat lamp and she's laying there and there's just like piglets like coming out, handing piglets off to people.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pretty much. They hand me a piglet.
Mm.
This piglet is not cleaned off.
No. All
The umbilical cord is attached and wraps around my wrist. So they just hand me this sticky, screaming piglet.
yes.
Which my thought is, like, you immediately want to, like, put it to your chest to, like, comfort it.
Right.
But it's sticky.
Yes.
And I'm on vacation and have no way to wash my clothes.
And it's not your vagina juice that you would be
Right.
sticky with.
No, it's sow.
Not that I necessarily want to be sticky with my own vagina juice either.
No, and it was a strange sow. This isn't a sow that I'm necessarily
true.
familiar with.
Yeah.
So this guy is like ready to burst with excitement. He is just like so fucking pumped that these two people are here and they love these baby animals, and now they get to see like the freshest of the baby animals literally like emerging and being handed to me. So they just, and there was no like, do you want to hold one? It was, they foisted
hands on
this
deck.
piglet upon me.
You're part of the family now.
And let me tell you, that umbilical cord was very long and felt like a piece of spaghetti just like wrapped around my arm. And my spouse, there's pictures of, we'll have to post a picture
Oh yeah.
to go with the Patreon. And my spouse is just like watching this whole thing, and they're like asking him if he wants to hold me. He's like, oh no, that's okay. No, you go ahead.
Oh,
You have fun.
if that's not his MO for
For
people
sure.
offering him places to sit and
sure.
things to hold.
For sure. My spouse has no problem if somebody offers something. No, that's okay. And you're like, oh, I kind of thought you were going to accept, but that's fine. So we eventually, the piglet is screaming to such an extent that they take it from me and put it under the heat lamp and reunite it with its siblings and its mother.
Right, like that's why it's screaming. Like,
Yup.
Jesus, it needs to be near something that smells like a pig.
Yep, and that's warm. And I'm holding it in the air because I'm like, I can't. So we get to our hotel, which was a very nice hotel. And we told them we were on our honeymoon, so they gave us like some like free upgrade to this. It was not in the hotel anymore. It was like a guest house.
Oh.
Gorgeous. Like everything was just gorgeous. And we smelled like farm animals.
Yes.
So we were like, hey, we wound up like paying extra to have our clothes washed because
Yeah.
I now can't put these clothes in my suitcase because
Yes.
they stink.
And you have all these like bloody amniotic handprints all over the doorknobs and everything.
Right,
and
they loved it.
Yeah.
Cut to, it used to be when you came back on an international flight, they would hand you this card that you
Yeah.
would give to customs where you had to check off, I have not been around farm animals. I have not handled farm animals. And I was like, you're going to shut the fuck up right now and you're not going to tell them anything about this.
Mhm.
If I wind up with mad cow disease, so be it. It's
Right.
too late now.
Well, I wonder what happens if you answer yes. Like, do they just like put you in a quarantine pen for 14 days at the airport?
Probably. I don't know, because I'll tell you what, I guess Customs and Border Patrol is going to come get me, but
I mean,
multiple
realistically,
trips.
like, show me who tells the truth on that fucking thing.
Yeah, I would say most of the trips I've been on, I have encountered farm animals. in some
Yeah,
fashion.
we definitely had to tell my brother to lie on that card when
Mm-hmm.
we came back, because we went to a farm where it was just like they were showing us how they shear sheep, and
I would love that.
it was cool to see. And they had they also like served us like the farmer's wife made homemade scones, and like we had like clotted
Cute.
cream and everything.
Yeah.
It was really yummy. But like, so we had that, and they like showed us around the farm and all this other stuff. And but they had a dog that was like a lab, like a yellow lab or golden retriever or something, but like really like light colored, like cream. And we have all these pictures of us like petting this dog and like playing with this dog. We're the only people giving this fucking dog attention.
Oh, yeah, because the dog's like utility.
Exactly. Like the dog, and they said like the dog, like, because the dog was like in this little hallway, and the farmer came by and was like, blah, 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 said something in Gaelic. And the dog like got up and he's like, oh, the dog doesn't go inside. And I was like, what? This dog is a treasure.
We stayed.
Although, if you get a dog from Ireland, you can bring it directly over to the U.S. because they don't have rabies in Ireland.
No shit.
Yeah.
I thought they still had to quarantine.
Nope.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There was another, we went to England, and stayed in an Airbnb, and it was like a little guest house on a farm. And I had like, in conversation with the owner, mentioned that I love animals. So she was like, oh, I'll have my husband come get you one morning and you can like walk around with him while he does like all his farm stuff. And I was like, fuck yeah. So they had like a little Jack Russell Terrier named Billy that ran around the farm. So he like brings me out in the morning, and my spouse definitely has videos of me just trying to control my excitement, but like talking to all of the animals like in a very baby talk.
PK would take
voice.
videos like that of me
Yes.
for sure.
He
He has that video of me geeking out in the Christmas tree section of Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, it's every video where there's me and animals, I'm embarrassing myself. So at one point, one of the mornings, because I would make such a fuss over this dog, I look outside. They had like a picket fence that went around the outside of the guest house, and she's sticking her face between the slats of the fence, staring, like waiting for me to come.
Oh,
For me to come out. It was so cute. But yeah, it's I lie on every customs form, every one of them.
you're supposed to.
That's the understanding.
That's the American way.
What is your petting zoo story?
So, as a child, my parents took us to my brother. I don't know if my brother was here yet. Either he wasn't born or he was like a newborn.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like 2 or 3, and they take us to like the petting zoo somewhere, like Catskill Game Farm, maybe.
Mhm.
I don't know. And the thing is, as a child, I loved getting dressed up in my party shoes and
Mhm.
wearing jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And by jewelry, of course, I mean the kind of jewelry you give to a 2-year-old,
Right. Yeah.
which is plastic pearls
Yep.
and heavy quotes and all that shit. And I always had to have that on and carry my pocketbook.
You're saying that as though it's different from now. She's like, yeah, it was
I
only when I
always
was 2 or
wear
3.
fake pearl necklaces and wear my party shoes.
I'm picturing Katie having a special box in her apartment that literally just has party shoes on it, and it's shoes that she only wears to parties.
I mean, I did wear those shoes when I was Cruella. So,
Oh yeah, that's true. Party shoes.
yeah, they were shoes. Any shoe that like made a clicking noise when you walked was. My
Oh
party
yeah,
shoes.
when I was
fucking
little,
loved them.
yeah, that was like
Yeah. So we're at this fucking petting zoo, and this little goat comes up, and I'm like feeding it, and then it starts eating my necklace,
mhm.
and didn't stop eating my necklace. So I'm like getting fed to this goat. And so I'm like screaming bloody murder. And there's a photo of me somewhere with this goat like near me. And I remember like looking at the photo one time and my mom being like, oh, that was right before the goat tried to eat you.
And you're like, excuse me, what? What happened?
Yeah.
We went to like a it was a place, we were in Florida visiting family, and they had elephants, and you could like feed them,
Oh, cool.
I'm assuming peanuts, something. And I remember the elephant coming up and like and leaving a trail of drool all the way up my arm.
Got an elephant snail trail.
I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't react well
Weird.
as a 3 or 4 year old, and definitely had a meltdown.
Hey, fun fact, you wouldn't react well as a 33-year-old. So
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, I definitely was really upset about it. And my mom thought it was very funny, which also tracks.
Well, yeah.
There was another time that my mom took me to one of those things when I was like really little. And there was a goat with gigantic balls, as goats do. Or like a ram, like a sheep. And I asked my mom if they were bottles. Because that's what my mom would refer to like if
Oh.
a
Like I have to
animal
give
was,
the baby a bottle.
right,
and-
or
okay.
like the nips on like a dog, or
Yeah.
my mom would jokingly call them bottles. So I asked my mom if those were also bottles, those gigantic balls on that ram.
Man, I really hate seeing testicles on
Anything.
Yeah, like realistically, I do avoid eye contact also with the testicles in the bedroom that are attached to human men. But
Eye contact, which makes me think that there are googly eyes.
there aren't.
You don't see googly eyes?
I gotta make a call.
He's gonna be really mad when he hears this. Oh my god.
PK, they said the googly eyes weren't normal.
What do you want me to do? Lie? Lie to the people?
Like it's a customs form? No.
This isn't Customs and Border Patrol.
Yeah, no, testicles are just so graphic all of the time, especially when they're like engorged. And I don't know why. Like, okay, so by engorged, I just mean like
This is one of those moments where you go, here, let me hand you the shovel. Dig a deeper hole.
like they're smooth like a water balloon instead of like wrinkly and like shameful and
Oh, yeah,
hidden.
so like when you see a dog.
Yeah,
with
like
short
a short hair dog. Yeah, and they're just like out and they look like they're being squeezed because they're like
No,
shiny
like you should
almost.
put pants on that dog.
Yeah, like put something or
It's
like
obscene.
you know how they have those butthole jewels for cats?
They do, yeah.
They need like truck nut ones for dogs.
They need like a snood that they can put around their balls so that I
Yes.
don't have to see them.
Yes.
I'd rather see
Or
your
like
balls covered in crochet.
How people in food service, men in food service who have a beard have to
Yeah,
wear
beard
those
net.
beard condoms. They just need that.
That's a different name for a beard net that I had not considered.
I guess
beard
beard net
condom.
makes more sense, but beard
Oh,
condom.
yeah, beard condom also.
Yeah, they need a little beard condom, and then you can like wrap it around their tail. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I R.I.P. to our old boy Beeg. And he was fixed, but part of his silhouette was his dong. It was just like very big for his size.
Good for him.
And right? And
His
I
OnlyFans was popping off.
just it was just so funny that when you saw his shadow, that his dong was so much a part of his shadow. And I remember my spouse saying, like, even when he got fixed as a puppy, it was one of those like, thank God, because it's obscene.
Yes.
It's obscene. To me, there's like no difference between a man walking around nude and somebody's pit bull with a giant dong and balls
Yeah.
hanging
And
out.
like the other thing I think, especially with dogs or four-legged creatures, is that they like hang out the back as opposed to like if they were just like underneath.
It would be fine.
Yeah, like I
Like
wouldn't.
their legs would cover it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be as distracted by it. But every time I'm like mole.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's
I
kind of
can't
like
stop.
a male horse.
Yes.
If his dong, if he's not frisky, it's fine. You
Yes.
hardly notice it and you don't see the balls. But the second things turn, mole, it's just like, how am I supposed to look anywhere else?
Right, because it's also. I mean, I understand like biologically
aggressive.
why it's so big. Like
Yeah,
they
but
need it
it's-
to be bigger. But yeah, it's just like
Too much.
intimidating.
Yes. Well, that's a turn I wasn't expecting. I did not think we were going to be covering balls quite so much.
Yeah.
Um,
This is now a farmhouse podcast.
I'd be fine with that. I could do that. I went to a farm camp as a kid.
Oh, I went to a farm camp not by choice. I was tricked into it.
Who tricked you into it? What do you mean tricked? How?
Ah!
I have questions.
So, in college, I went down for. So here's the thing. I went to SUNY Stony Brook, and I got in by mistake. Not in
I was
that.
tricked.
I was duped. They lied to me. So, no, the thing is that with the SUNY application back in the day when it was on paper, because I'm ancient,
Back in my day,
kids today, they
the
just
balls
don't
didn't have a
get it.
snood.
But it was a paper application. I had only visited SUNY Geneseo out in Western New York, and I loved it. And I was like, that's where I want to go. I know I don't want to stay in Albany, so I'm not going to go to SUNY Albany. Otherwise, I don't care. So I checked off SUNY Geneseo, threw the application at my mom, basically, because she had to fill out something with it. And like let it go, but you could apply to 3 SUNY schools for 1 application fee. So my mom picked the other 2. She picked SUNY Plattsburgh, which is up at the Canadian border, but because I have most of my extended family on my father's side lives across the lake in Burlington, her thought process was if anything goes wrong, somebody will be close by.
Yeah.
And then she meant to check SUNY New Paltz, which is like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours south of us. And the thing is that list is alphabetical, and the one right below New Paltz is Stony Brook. So I got waitlisted at Geneseo, and then I got accepted to Stony Brook, and my mom said, "When did you apply to Stony Brook?" And I was like, "What's Stony Brook?"
That's great. I love that that's the origin story of how you wound up there.
1,000%. Like, truly, it is. I just, like, bumble my way through. I'm like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it's
Or
actually
Mr. Bean. That's also a very Mr. Bean thing to have.
an extremely competitive school to get into.
Yes. That's why it's wild that it was like a, whoops,
Yep.
did I do that?
Yep.
She urkled her way right into Stony.
Is that not, though, perfect? Like, it's just, it's
fits.
so Katie.
Yes, it
And
is.
so, anyway, so we hadn't been to the school. And for those of you who don't know, Stony Brook is in the middle of Long Island, which means either you have to take a ferry from Connecticut across the Long Island Sound to it, or you drive basically through New York City.
Or you try and navigate the Long Island Railroad, which is terrifying.
I don't mind that as much, but that's only because of experiences driving through New York City. Because this was a time, folks, when like TomTom GPS had only just been invented and were like $400 a piece. So we didn't have one. We went to AAA and got the directions printed out.
And when there was a road closure or a new highway or a new exit,
You were on your own.
yeah,
There was no updating
the
software.
GPS did not update, and if you wanted to update the software, it was almost the price of buying a new GPS.
Yes. And the problem with printed out instructions is that in the
have to
same
read
way,
them.
well, in the same way, it's like, it'll give you the instructions to like get out of your own fucking neighborhood, but then it'll say like, take the ramp for exit da-da-da, and then take exit da-da-da-da-da. Like, these are all separate steps, and it's like every 300 feet. So like, you could either have no instructions for like 80 miles or have 8
1,000.
instructions in a
Yeah.
1,000 foot period. So anyway,
I used to give myself like a Cliff Notes version. I would print out like MapQuest directions,
Yeah.
and then I would put a summary on a sticky note and stick that to the front so that I knew the high points, so that I didn't have to worry about trying to read it while I was driving.
I didn't do that because my mom didn't tell me to. So anyway, we go down to Stony Brook for orientation in the summer, and we make it there. Stressful, but fine. Way more traffic than we're used to where we're from, for sure.
Even Long Island.
Way more aggressive drivers, too.
Oh, and the Long Island Expressway too.
Yeah, they're
it's just
nuts.
like soup to nuts. It's a challenge.
So, either way, we're there. And I was in the government, like social sciences college, because my major at the time when I went in was political science. So I was in this college, and they are doing all these different speeches, and as usual, I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, that sounds relatable.
Yeah. They lost my attention very quickly.
Yes.
And also, I was sitting at a table with a kid who we had to go around and introduce ourselves.
Ugh.
And I thought he said, I'm from Wisconsin, because we were looking for the person who was
Do you
from
have
the
a speech
furthest.
impediment?
No.
Oh,
It was just fucking noisy.
yeah.
But we were looking for whoever was from furthest away. And I did not win. Somebody was from, like, Buffalo, which was fucking nuts to just go for an orientation. Well, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Beside the point. So I thought he was from Wisconsin. He was from Nesconset, which is a town on Long Island. So he's like, says this, and I was like, "You're from Wisconsin?" He was like, "No."
You're like, I'm off to a great start.
Yeah, Heine. Just things I shout at people when I don't listen properly. So anyway,
You ran a train on that? And they were like, what? Who said that?
so in one of these speeches, they're talking about there's this thing you can sign up for. You get to move in a day early. So you can kind of beat the rush. It's less chaotic, da da da. And so I was like, well, that sounds lovely. I don't like crowds and like being overwhelmed and da da da. And so I was like, okay, I'll do that. Cool. Well, the thing is, they described it, and I remember like them saying, like, you move in a day early because on the day of move-in, you go to this like farm and you learn about it's this, I'm gonna forget the name of it, but it's like a UNICEF thing where they give a pregnant cow to impoverished families in
Oh, yeah, like Heifer International
yes.
does that. Yeah, yeah.
and so that
You
they
can, like,
can
buy part of, you can contribute to a cow to go to a village.
right, and then because it's a pregnant cow, it'll produce milk, but then they can raise the baby for
Yep.
meat and
Yep.
whatever. So they were like, oh, like this is a farm where we like do that kind of work and whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, like a field trip, whatever. No, we were building a fucking farm. Clearing land. So we get there and they're like, oh yeah, look around. And they're showing us around. I held a piglet that was dry.
It wasn't wet. There was no umbilical cord.
Pigs have a very distinct odor to them. So like my hands smelled for the rest of the day. Also got to hold like baby chicks and all this other stuff. So it was cool. But there was like a bunch of sheep in a pasture and we had to round them up as like an exercise to like
Thank you.
right. And it had just been like there was a tropical depression that had moved through
God,
the
so it
day
was muddy.
before. Oh, it was terrible. And of course, like it's not like I bring like waders.
clothes.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm not running through that. So they're like, okay, whatever. And then they took us after chasing the sheep to the edge of this field and they were like, okay, so you just have to pull all this out. No gloves or anything, like pulling full like chest high like underbrush stuff out of the ground so that they could put in a fence. Like fully building this fucking thing.
Yeah, you guys have large equipment you use for this.
Right. So then
Not children.
we do this like for lunch. They had us count off by whatever, 4s or something. And
That's always the worst when you never know what each one is going to have to do.
yeah, so I was of a group where it was like, if you're the number one, come up. So there was 28 of us in this group. So I was one of the people that chose. We must have counted off by 7 or something. Whatever. So there were 4 of us at this table. That's the point.
Yep.
And we sat down, and then the next group came in, which was like a bigger group, and then the majority of the people came into like the dining hall. Mm-hmm. Myself and 3 other people were like served like a Hungry Man meal that had been like put onto a plate and like cooked for us, and we had like drinks and whatever, like an assortment of like sodas or juice or something.
I'm picturing them handing you those remember those barrel drinks that had like the fruit punch in them?
Yes, I do.
That's what they gave you.
It's not, but like we had cups and whatever, I don't know. So then the second group, they had plates, I think, and utensils, but were like, it was more of like family style. And then the third group had like rice and beans, and that was their lunch. And
It's supposed to be like a lesson that you're teaching?
yes, about
Oh my God. I've been
poverty.
working on a farm all day, man.
Yep. And so, like, I felt like a schmuck by the end of it because I had a meal that was microwaved turkey and gravy with, like, mashed potato. Like, it was almost like a Smart Ones meal.
Yeah.
And, like, and they were like, well, you notice there was more chatter from the group that had to, like, work with the rice and beans because they had to share and da-da-da. And, like, so there's more community. And it was like, what? I don't have to ask them to use their fork. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, the reason there wasn't as much chatter is because all of us were shocked.
Oh, it was
that
wild.
We just got tricked onto working on this farm all day, and you're not going to feed us.
Yes. And so then they take us back. I see my new roommates for the first time.
Oh, no.
A mess. And they're going to the stadium for, like, commencement and the speeches, which I missed all of because I had to shower and then go. Yeah, it was wild.
So they were just like,
But I did get to move in a day early. And my mom had to drive home through New York City in a tropical depression and got lost. And she like ended up in like Midtown Manhattan freaking the fuck out and like pulled over because there was like something going on and there were these enormous like bodyguards and tuxes and she was like in tears and was like, "Can you please just help me?" And she was like, "I was so afraid that like the roads were gonna flood and I was gonna get stranded." And like, yeah, she did not do well with her first child going off to college.
yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Now, I went to a camp, like, was signed up to go for a week, and you stayed on a farm and worked on a farm. So you got put into groups, and there was, like, a rotation of, like, tasks that you would have to do. So I was the first one to get cow duty. So you would go and, like, muck out the stalls, and you would milk and all this other shit. So not only is there this, like, beefy farm guy explaining to a bunch of 10-year-old girls that you have to put the machine on the cow's teat.
Oh, that's nice that they give you a machine. I just had to actually manually.
They showed us that, but they were like, realistically, like, that's not how we're doing it. So we had to, like, use the iodine to, like, clean their teats and then dry them off and then connect to the machine connect them to the milkers after we mucked out the stalls. So I had to be up at like 7 a.m. to be there. And then, or I had to be up at like, I had to be there by 7 a.m., my group. So then at the end of the day, when we're all getting together for like dinner, all of my friends that I'm staying with in this house are like, "You fucking stink." And I'm like, "Guys, what do you want?" I was on cow duty. Like, and nobody had it before. So nobody knew that was like,
right,
just how it smelled. So they roasted me the whole dinner about how bad I smelled. And I was like, you just wait.
It changed each day?
Yeah. So then like the next day you would have, you know, something like one day we made candles. And then another day we made like a basket. And another day we went like swimming in the creek.
Farm skills.
It was, honestly, loved it. I had never been away from home for a week. So I think I had a tough time with that. There was a girl, so my mom was, like, friends with her mom. I want to say they, like, worked remote or something, and that's how they knew each other.
Okay.
And she and I were the same age. So they had, like, set us up kind of as, like, pen pals.
Okay.
When we were, like, 9 or 10. And we're signing stuff that we went together to this camp. And this girl was really homesick. Like, really homesick. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm homesick, but it's also like kind of fun. Like, I really liked
like
most
I'm
of the
busy
girls.
enough. Yeah.
And they kept you busy like all day. And you know, animals, and I mean it was fun.
Yeah.
So
Poop,
lots
your
of
favorite
and
things.
smells. Yeah. And she was like really desperate to get out of there. To the point where I was like, okay, like as a 10-year-old, I'm approaching this from, yes, I understand that, but we're only going to be here for, like, this many days. And this is coming from, like, a kid who was, like, a nervous kid is explaining to the other nervous kid, okay, let's break this down. We're not going to be here that long.
Yeah.
Like, by the time you make your case to get out of here, it's going to be time to leave anyway. She intentionally fell to break her arm so that she could go home. And I am pretty sure she fell, broke her arm. They picked her up, brought her to the doctor. She got a cast on it, and I think they brought her back. And she was, like, furious.
Well, yeah, because the Munchausen's backfired there. Jesus.
Like, she had tried one of the first nights, tried to, like, fall intentionally to break her arm or something, hurt herself, and it didn't work. And then she did it again. So there was more than one attempt to hurt herself in a way that looked accidental so that she could get sent home from camp early.
Have you looked up that girl recently? Is she
I don't even
in
remember
prison?
her name.
Or
I have no idea.
because
I just remember being like, even again as a 10-year-old, being like, well, that's a level I would never go to.
Yeah, that is
I am just gonna
unhealthy.
tough it out. And I remember, like, you know, my mom was like, oh, how was it? I can't remember what the girl's name was. How was it with this one? I looked at my mom like, girlfriend is unstable. That was weird.
I guess I wasn't So, I mean, when I went, so in college, I went to Europe for a month. And I got homesick like 3 weeks in, and I called home because I just missed my mom. But otherwise, I did pretty well. Like, we did sleepaway camp. We did like a 2-week sleepaway camp.
Oh, see, I
once.
never did that. I was not a camp kid.
And we only did it once. Like, it was only like 2 summers in a row when we were both, like, I was in 7th or 8th grade. 7th and 8th grade, probably. And so Jake was like 5th and 6th grade. But we would visit my dad and would spend like a week at a time at my dad's. So I don't think it like...
It wasn't as distinct a feeling.
Yeah, like it was the kind of thing of like, yeah, it's good to be home, but I didn't have that same kind of withdrawal. So like for all of its faults with divorce and how all that panned out.
Oh yeah, it makes
like
you
at
less,
least
like...
it was helpful in that sense that like it doesn't faze me as much. I mean, I love being in my bed and having my space, but it's a different kind of like homesick feeling. I've really only felt homesick that one time I was in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, it was
I was
like...
also there though without a phone. Like it was 2008. Like I didn't have a smartphone.
Right.
And so the only way I could call home was to go to an internet cafe or whatever. So it was like a true disconnect of communication. Whereas like now, I don't even know that it would have fazed me at all.
Right, because you could be texting and calling. And, yeah, like I remember my mom would send me a fax. She sent me a fax a couple of times. Just like,
At
hey,
the
like
farm?
I hope you're having fun.
Oh my goodness.
Blah, blah, blah. Like just like a little note. Like she would leave in my lunchbox, which I used to get really excited about. But yeah, it was just like... It was just so wild to me that somebody would go to like that extreme.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
And I was like making friends. Like I just feel like it takes a certain type of kid to go to a farm camp. So there was just like some fun.
Yeah, they would have sent me.
No.
You can't bring party shoes to a farm camp.
What are those, party shoes?
Goat's gonna eat my fucking necklace. Again.
So yeah, those are our farm stories.
And testicle stories.
And you also got to hear a can of beer explode on me. So that was fun, and I smell like beer.
Seamless.
Yeah. It all fits.
Yeah.
It's all very, very much the
very dysfunction junction of us.
The most dysfunctional of junctionals.
Yay!
So we will talk to you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For another episode. And how do we want to send it off? Happy St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah. Happy St. Patrick's Day late. And happy early Passover and Easter, if that's your thing. Oh, also, we're recording this the weekend that Daylight Savings Time ends.
Oh, God, I'm so excited.
And
it'd be better if it wasn't fucking snowing right now.
I know.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, by the time this comes out, we'll have passed officially into spring.
Oh.
So
it doesn't feel like it right now, but it's close.
Yeah.
It's so close.
Flowers are flowering.
As it's literally actively snowing right now. She said that there was no confidence. For somebody who usually delivers things with all the confidence, it was devoid of confidence.
I did my best.
I tried my best. So happy spring, and happy all the spring holidays, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye!
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be here next Thursday with another episode to tingle your ear holes. In the meantime, the best way to support us is to follow us on Instagram at The Bar is Ankle High, and to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review on your preferred podcast streaming platform. It seems really simple, but it really is the best way to help us out, especially whenever you can actually write out a review. Great news! We have a new merch store that ships internationally and allows you to customize your merch on an endless array of products. You can head over to bit.ly/anklehighmerch to check it all out. If you want even more ankle high hot takes in your life and have a few dollars to spare, you can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/thebarsanklehigh. There's 3 different tiers to choose from: $2 toe rings, $5 anklets, and $10 limbo champions. Everybody gets monthly horoscopes written by yours truly. Anklets get bi-weekly Dysfunction Junction episodes, and Limbo Champions get all of that plus ad-free episodes. And they get added to our close friends list on Instagram. So
head on over to patreon.com/thebarisAnkleHigh and join today. Until next Thursday, remember to be kind to yourself because the bar is ankle high.